All right, let's jump right into this explainer, where we are going to decode a seriously comprehensive syllabus designed to transform technically skilled students into highly employable, ethical corporate leaders. Think about it, you've mastered the coding languages, you totally get the engineering principles, but what actually happens when you step out of the classroom and walk into the boardroom? It's a fascinating question, right? What makes a brilliant technical career fail? You'd probably think it's a lack of technical prowess, maybe failing to keep up with the latest software update, or, accidentally deleting the production database. But industry data and academic frameworks point to something entirely different. The gap between being a technical genius in a lab and actually surviving, let alone thriving in the modern corporate world, is vast. And that massive gap is exactly why courses like professional communication and ethics are so crucial. If we look at the core of professional development, it's really a tale of two skill sets. On one side, you've got your hard technical skills. That's your raw ability to build, calculate, and engineer. But on the flip side, you have your soft professional skills. These are the absolutely essential interpersonal and communication abilities you need for true long-term success. Because let's be real, you could build the most innovative product on the planet, but if you can't explain it, defend it, or work with a team to actually launch it, its impact is literally zero. So here is our 6-step blueprint for this explainer. First, going beyond just technical skills. Second, nailing the job hunt. Third, mastering interpersonal dynamics. Fourth, communicating like a pro. Fifth, navigating corporate ethics. And finally, number 6, putting it all into practice. Let's start with step 1, beyond just technical skills. This is the foundation of the professional blueprint. The main goal here isn't just to teach you how to format a corporate email. It's about entirely shifting your mindset from being a solitary worker to becoming a collaborative thinker. We're talking about core tenets like excellence, leadership, and lifelong learning. And why does this matter so much? Because recruiters today, they aren't just looking to hire a coder or an engineer to stick in a cubicle. They are actively hunting for future managers, directors, and industry leaders. They need people who can adapt to global corporate demands and respond creatively when completely unprecedented challenges pop up. Moving on to step 2, nailing the job hunt. Consider this level 1, employability skills. This is the first major hurdle of any career, right? Actually getting your foot in the door. You can think of it as a sequential gauntlet that you have to survive. First up, mastering business correspondence. Then, you have to prove your baseline logic through verbal aptitude tests. And it's pretty notable that students are preparing for these using really rigorous models like the CAT, GRE, GMAT, and IELTS. Next up, you've got to survive group discussions, or GDs. And finally, the personal interview, which can range from your standard face-to-face panel all the way to intense stress and behavioral testing. Now, what's really interesting here is how the curriculum approaches the written word. Drafting a compelling statement of purpose, a letter of intent, or a highly customized resume, it is not just about margins and formatting. The syllabus explicitly zeroes in on using an ethical and assertive tone. It's all about empathetic communication. When you write a job application, or even a resignation letter, you are directly signaling your professional maturity and your respect for the person reading it. Okay, step 3. Mastering interpersonal dynamics. Level 2, surviving and thriving in a team. Surviving in a modern, multidisciplinary team is arguably the toughest part of any job. And right at the heart of this module is emotional intelligence. But the syllabus treats EQ as way more than just a corporate buzzword. It's an actionable skill. It's the ability to manage your own emotions, negotiate ethically, and resolve conflicts. It directly links your emotional quotient to ethical, inclusive decision-making. We're talking about keeping your composure in heated situations, engaging in active, respectful listening, and truly recognizing the massive value that diversity brings to a team. Which brings us to step 4, communicating like a pro. Level 3, amplifying your ideas. So how exactly do you take highly complex, technical ideas and make them crystal clear to a non-technical audience? The answer is advanced technical writing. The curriculum demands a really rigorous structure here. Students learn to synthesize complex data using strict academic reporting standards like the APA and IEEE formats. They're taught how to craft ultra-clear problem statements, dig through primary and secondary data, conduct both qualitative and quantitative analysis, and ultimately pinpoint those crucial gaps in existing research. It's really about taking absolute chaos and organizing it into a logical, persuasive progression of ideas. But hey, writing is only half the battle. You actually have to present the thing, and technical presentations are rarely solo acts. They require meticulous teamwork. This module hammers home that platform skills are essential, because as we all know, a brilliant slide deck is completely useless if the group is awkwardly stumbling over who's supposed to speak next. It requires deeply understanding a diverse audience, sharing the workload, delegating tasks effectively, and executing those seamless transitions between speakers so the entire presentation feels completely uniform.
Next up, Step 5. Navigating corporate ethics. Level 4. The anchor of professionalism.
Without this ethical anchor, all those other amazing skills we just talked about can actually become massive liabilities. The syllabus brilliantly illustrates the real breadth of what modern corporate ethics entails today. It's not just some vague, feel-good idea of being a good person. The curriculum drills down into highly specific, actionable areas. Standard corporate codes of conduct, gender equity and inclusivity in the workplace, corporate social responsibility, and the incredibly intense legal world of intellectual property.
Let's actually look a bit closer at intellectual property rights, or IPR. The modern professional has to navigate a total minefield of legal definitions just to protect their innovations and avoid unethical practices. Students are explicitly taught to differentiate between copyrights, trademarks, patents, geographical indications, industrial designs, and trade secrets. And in the corporate world, ignorance of these concepts is definitely not an excuse. It's a fast track to a legal disaster.
This ethics module also takes a hard look at the very real world of entrepreneurship, asking a vital question: why do ambitious startups fail? Is it really just bad luck, poor financial literacy, or does it more often come down to a severe lack of ethical risk assessment and flawed data analysis? Students are actually tasked with dissecting failed business plans to find the exact gaps, which are often ethical or structural, that led to their downfall, and then they have to propose viable solutions.
And finally, Step 6. Putting it into practice. Translating theory into action.
Now, theory rarely survives contact with reality unless you practice it. That's why there are 30 dedicated hours in this curriculum strictly for what they call ability enhancement. The course uses this really cool inverted pyramid approach. It purposely starts out super wide with low-pressure group activities, like group discussions and mock interviews, to build up some basic confidence. Then it slowly narrows down, ending with the ultimate test of individual competency: solo presentations, where students often tackle heavy, complex topics like gender equity or detailed academic research.
The grading scheme tells you exactly where the academic priorities lie. The continuous internal assessment, which makes up 50 marks, is heavily weighted toward practical, real-world output. A massive 20 marks go toward drafting and presenting research papers and case studies using those IEEE and APA formats. Another 10 marks are dedicated to live group discussions and mock interviews, 10 for drafting your actual professional documents, and the final 10 for verbal aptitude and active participation. They are quite literally grading your actual readiness to step into an office.
Ultimately, the core philosophy of this entire explainer is summed up perfectly by Performance Indicator 7.3.1, right from the syllabus itself. Apply and exhibit universal human values and a diverse and inclusive mindset free of discrimination. This tells us loud and clear that being a modern engineer or tech professional is no longer just about optimizing a line of code or building circuits. It requires a deep, unwavering commitment to ethical responsibility, inclusivity, and lifelong learning.
So I want to leave you with a final thought to reflect on today. Based on the rigorous blueprint we just went through, the aptitude tests, the high emotional intelligence requirements, the strict academic writing standards, and those deep, ethical responsibilities, you might have the technical skills, but are you truly professionally ready?